Seen some courageous wins this year, but this one just about tops the lot.
This is brave. Whenever you lose soldiers so early in games and big injuries in hamstrings and knees, it can sap your energy. But the emotion attached to this one will be big, Jared. They just had to stay alive in this game and they found a way.
Sirens about to sound. Collingwood are back inside the 8. Their season back from the grave.
Clearly, circumstances of the game from an injury perspective challenged us. I mean, I really felt for Caff in particular. You know, when you go to three-quarter time huddle and you can see some of his teammates in tears because they know what's happened and they know what he's been through and they know what he's fought through and how invested he is and how much it means to him. That tells you something about the makeup of our playing group, who have copped it from all angles this year, but I can't speak highly enough about the integrity and the character of our group and the way that they've handled themselves through this second part of the year in particular. We could be better, there's no doubt about it, but the supporters of the club should rest assured that you've got a young senior group and a young up-and-coming talented group that are absolutely committed to this footy club and doing whatever they can to make a success of it.
It's a great win for the boys, and we fought back a couple of injuries, and especially with the young players pulling their weight and just pulling a good win for the actual club. So I'm loving the feeling at the moment. It's great.
Another few casualties, but really happy to get over the line, and with the way it was fought out, we sort of felt we deserved the win in the end, and it was great efforts, a really resilient effort from a few of the younger boys to really stand up when the game was there to be won. I think we'll take a lot out of it, and it was pretty heartfelt and pretty emotional win in the end.
I've been at the club longer than I can remember, 33 years, and that could be a fraction. Well, when I was a kid and going to school, I went over to Collingwood, and I used to, for the home games, and I used to get a white coat and you'd sign a sheet, and we used to walk around with a tray selling drinks and everything and that, yeah. Not thinking that one day I'd actually be working for the club. This season is going to be my last season. I've decided now that because there's only 4 trainers on the ground, I couldn't do the running that they have to do nowadays, and that is just run now. So it's time to step aside now, let the young ones do it. Okay, Frosty, how you going, mate?
You're up early this morning, mate. Hey?
Oh, geez, hard-working, unassuming, goes about his business, never complains. Yeah, they don't make him want that anymore.
Well, the black and white flows right through my veins. When I go into it, because they get this blood out now and again, they say it's one that don't come out black and white. It's been a big part of my life. The wife and I, we've both been going together to footy as long as we've ever known each other, sort of thing. So, and our kids are growing up in the black and white. Oh yeah, the grandchildren, yeah, of course, they're all mad Collingwood supporters too. This was the mark of the year for Chrissy Tarrant. Yeah, when he took that mark, because I was sitting in that pocket, and I went out to him straight away and gave him a drink and patted him on the back and said, well done, and that's, so he thought he'd sign the back of it and to say that, he put even on the back that I was the first one to go out to him. Back then, of course, we used to come down and mainly do massage. And of course, mind you, all the massage, it was a sort of a slapping motion. I've done it a couple of times just showing them down there, and they all laugh. They think it's quite funny because nowadays they're taught just to rub and that, And of course, the wife got that one framed for me for my 50th birthday. That's the centenary jumper. The players used to be able to have a beer after the game or so, and even of a rehab on the Sunday, and it was nearly all Saturday games then. And the players used to come in on the Sunday morning, hop in the spa to talk about the game, and we used to have the cans of beer cold for them so they could sit in there and have a beer, But but not anymore. That's all. No now. I saw the players' goodies. Yeah, I've enjoyed every minute of it, working with the boys and that, because you couldn't ask for a better group of players. I suppose every club's the same, but like these boys are great, you know, they really look after you and they love to stir you up and that, but it's all done in good fun, of course. No club would succeed if everyone sort of went their own separate ways and that, so you all got to work as a group and everyone has their role to play and everyone does that, you know.
What am I going to do without you, Col?
I'm sure you'll manage.
Gonna miss you.
It's just the friendship you made all the time down there with everyone and that. And that's just, you never lose all the memory, a lot of memories anyway. Did you get that in widescreen?
He's very cheeky. When you're here for a while and you get to know Col really well, he's just such a great fella. He's really one of those guys when times are tough, he's sort of, you know, everyone has a laugh with him and he, you know, gets you up and about, and his sort of endless humour that he has on the track, and you know, all the boys really like Col and appreciate everything he's done for the football club. Oh, he's just a great fella and he'll be sorely missed when he's gone.
I'm going to miss having him around. He's just one of those people that you just, you know, I think the whole club, in particular football department, is going to miss him dearly for all the work he puts in. So, all the best, Col.
Ball is into the goal square. Tottenham tries to bust his way through. He'll pick it up. He scores! Fabulous!
Dacos nearly runs out of room. He's goal!
Tony Shaw, he's seen his brother play and lose grand finals, and now he is the champion. Let's go down onto the ground with Michael Roberts.
I can't believe this thing's finally finished. This has been 2 years in the making, from initial discussions with the club, and then probably a good 6 months of research, you know, going backwards and forwards with historians, with board members, with the fans got involved in helping choose the great moments of the history of this great club.
They're there. They're into another grand final of the prize.
My job was to then research, find photographs and put all these images that I could find or create and organise them into one image, one defining image of 120 years of a footy club. And it's been the hardest thing I've ever done.
The killer marks. He plays on. Goes towards the goal. It's a long kick too, and it's went through.
A real joy to wander back through time and bring them all back to life. What I've tried to do is merge times and places and people and create not just a whole bunch of stuck-on figures that don't relate to each other. I've actually tried to create some contact between the players and the images. So, for example, I've done the timeline of captains. So it's all the captains of the club, 46 of them from 1892 in roughly chronological order. But they're actually sort of hanging out together. They're side by side. And I didn't want to have them just standing there wooden, so they're kind of looking at each other as if they're waiting for a formal portrait to be done. So that took a heap of work. Every single one of those heads is famous to the Collingwood faithful, so they have to be right. I knew that Eddie was going to come and sign off on this painting, and if anyone knows every single face in Collingwood history, it's him. So I felt the pressure of having the responsibility of creating something that does define the entire history of the club, not in a series of books, in one image. So that's been pretty daunting.
I tell you what, from idea to the sketches, I can't believe the vividness of the colours. I mean, I love the black and white, but the other colours around it.
That's all the captains that have ever played in chronological order.
So every single game that Collingwood has ever played is represented and is staring back at us through the eyes of these guys.
That's what it is, mate. Have a look at those. There's no duds in amongst that. They've just been the legends of the game. Great names, every single one of them. Wow.
We've ended the timeline of captains with the current captain, Scott Pendlebrand. He sort of symbolically is walking out of that line. So that represents, you know, the past, present and walking into the future. And history's already been done, but we're still creating our own history every day. And then he sort of symbolises that walk forward. Collingwood Forever, I guess. Every painting has to have a heart, a centre, you know, one just for the eye to fix on, but more importantly, this centrepiece is supposed to represent the essence of the club. And, you know, there could have been a million different things. Could it have been a captain holding up a trophy, a premiership cup, or what was unanimously agreed upon was the heart and soul of this football club is the fans. The generational support that the club's had for 120 years. So through lean periods, you know, 30, 40 years without much success, it's still been the greatest football club in the country. And that is because the die-hard fans never waver, they never leave, you know, they don't disappear and come back when the times are good. So the centrepiece of the painting is fans from many different eras, from today, from the 50s, you know, way back to the 20s and 30s when Collingwood encouraged the women to come along and dress up and celebrate not just the game but the city of Collingwood. So this really epitomises what the club is, the heart and soul of the club, the fans. I hope that people looking at the painting get a sense of that this is not just a club, you know, it is actually a community, it's a family. I mean, they're cliches, but it is actually true. The Collingwood Footy Club helped in the Depression, you know, they helped the community all the way through and still do today. So this to me encapsulates a whole story of a community, not just a club.
The Collingwood Forever historical website is probably the most exciting project I've been a part of since my time at the club. Collingwood has now taken its history from the storage and displayed it in a beautiful manner in this digital platform that hopefully every supporter can experience and benefit from.
We first started talking to the club about 18 months ago about this project. The club's ambition was huge, and what we were able to do in partnership with the club is not only take that original brief, which was how do we tell the story online, but we've really built an amazing online platform, a living archive, an interactive archive that can really tell the fantastic history of the Collingwood Football Club.
We've worked with a number of content providers to get the website to the state it is today. We've leaned on the club's head of archives, Michael Roberts, award-winning journalist and Collingwood man who writes for the Herald Sun, Glenn McFarlane. And we've had a whole host of other contributors who have submitted content, not just from a stats point of view, but also from an article point of view, their photos from their scrapbooks. It's really come together in such a beautiful manner.
We've developed a really robust platform with really deep data. And we pulled information and data from multiple digital sources, and we've had researchers working, and we've combined all that data together and interconnected it with stories written by the researchers as well. So what's really interesting is you can see how fans have walked through the turnstiles over 70 million times and seen 30,000 goals being scored by 1,200 players, and you have these great numbers, and then you also have these very small details, like you can find out about a player who played one match in 1939 and find about his statistics for that game, his birth date, his details, his names, and things of that nature. So it's really you have this great combination of breadth of data and detail as well.
This website's forever evolving, and it's going to be pretty exciting to see what we can do with this website and this platform in the coming months with regards to new content that we're getting sent in, but also a few significant changes to alter the user experience.
But it's one thing building the site for now, but the club's also really ambitious to make sure that this lives on in the future, that fans, whether they be young or old, can really take their own personal histories and their own personal stories of the players and the stats and the data. And I think in the future what we're going to see is this site evolve and just be truly the best sports history site in the world.
Yeah, there's always been stages, certainly throughout my playing career and definitely as a coach, whether here or at West Coast, that sometimes it's good to get away. Leave your family, leave your friends, I guess leave the media in a sense, whether it is the one-way Perth media or the media in Melbourne, and really get united and get close and really focus on what we want to achieve out of that particular game. It's a great opportunity because it's going to be probably one of the youngest teams we've played for quite a number of years. So to get them together, to get a full understanding of how we want to play the game Saturday night, to get a full understanding of how we want each individual to play or what role they need to perform, we'll certainly dot every I and cross every T and certainly look forward to the challenge Saturday night. think the biggest thing in coaching is really trying to understand the personalities of the players. So starting to form those relationships with the boys here, and it takes time. The good thing for me is that you've worked alongside a Robert Harvey, who's worked with that midfield group too over the last few years. It's certainly been a very good sounding board for me, trying to find out what makes certain individuals tick. As you can see probably from our first 11 or 12 rounds, we believe we've got a pretty solid game plan that stacks up against some very, very good teams, but unfortunately dropped away the last 6 to 8 weeks. So guess what I'm looking forward now, after being around for 10 months or so, is the next challenge over the next 6 to 24 months. Getting new players into this midfield with Beams, Pendlebury and Sidebottom, and certainly watching them grow, and for them to learn off the top players in the competition, but get there as quick as they possibly can. And I'll certainly need the help of those senior players to achieve that. I just see it as a completely different place to when I was here as a player. Things have changed a lot, obviously playing list-wise. Things have changed a lot, coaching staff, fitness staff, football manager, so it's all different, it's all new. I see myself as a coach that's come back from West Coast, I guess offering new ideas or thoughts to Collingwood. So as a player, yeah, I think when we travel to Sydney, love travelling to Sydney, we always seem to have a good record up there. So whether that's against the Swans or now the Giants over the last 2 or 3 years, there's always those certain things that remind you of team success. Just going to Sydney is certainly one of those things.
Hi, I'm Eddie Maguire, President of the Collingwood Football Club, and I'm really pleased to showcase something that the club has been working on for some time now. As you may have already known, I'm a pretty keen member and enthusiast of all things Collingwood, just like you. I'm passionate about our rich history and the many stories that have come together to create it. And until now, our history has been largely locked away, preserved within our archives collection held inside the Collingwood Football Club. That history is now yours to take home. I'm pleased to announce the launch of the Collingwood Forever Archives Collection. This innovative publishing project has never been seen in Australian football. This is not just a book to be looked at, it's one you can get involved with. It's history you can touch and feel. In this book, Collingwood's history is told through objects as well as the words and the magnificent pictures. The lift-outs and replica artefacts are taken from the club's own vast collection. Each one represents a different part of that great Collingwood story. Objects that are featured in this book include a replica Copeland trophy, as close as most of us will ever get to having one of our own. The deed of title to the land of our spiritual home, Victoria Park. The club's first annual report, which would cost thousands of dollars to buy if you could ever find it. And a replica premiership medal, what we all dreamt about as kids, winning the big one for the Pies. An early playing contract of Simon Prestigiacomo's also gives you a unique look inside the world of an AFL player. We've done history books before, but never anything quite like this. This project is part of a concerted effort by the club to bring our treasures out of the vaults and give them back to you, the fans. Secure your part of Collingwood history today. Members will receive an exclusive price of $139.95. So visit www.archivescollection.collingwoodfc.com.au to order your book today. Alternatively, call 1300 Magpie for more details.
Thanks to the Victorian Responsibly Gambling Foundation that I've been able to come home to my hometown of Ballarat and to a place where I spent most of my junior time before I went to pursue a footballing career, so the Ballarat Mine Dome. I've been here for a while. They've obviously implemented the charter that the Responsibly Gambling Foundation have set forward, a charter that Collingwood have committed to as well. It's good to be back home. Oh, just as well.
There was a competition from the Responsible Gambling Foundation we entered into for an appearance from a Collingwood player, and when we actually won the competition, we asked specifically for Nathan Brown because of his history with Ballarat.
Technically, I wasn't born in Ballarat. We're originally from Melbourne, and when I was 4 years old, we moved up to Ballarat here. We've got a family home about half an hour out of Ballarat towards Lake Byron Beach. For those who are playing at home, Shane O'Brien country, near Beaufort, so we're sort of similar areas where we grew up.
1, 2, 3, hard work!
Yeah, we obviously played a fair bit with the local comp here, which is what they're playing tonight. And then we obviously went into representative basketball with Ballarat and then on to Victoria Country and stuff like that. Nice to meet you, Harry.
As a basketball association, there's thousands of players that are involved daily or weekly with playing the sport with representative sides, as Nathan was actually in representative sides in underage. Encourage them to develop and grow in the sport.
I loved playing basketball, something that I'd done all growing up. My older brother did it and I was at a stage, both myself and my twin brother were doing everything that he did. We idolised him. Even just being back in here, you run into a few old people that you haven't seen in years and a few schoolmates that I went to school with and that. So I guess Ballarat's a town like that where it's a small community and it's just good to get back and to see a few people.
Now the club's always been big on expanding our horizons outside of football, and I've always been interested in hospitality and catering. So here I am at Subway and I'm going to learn the craft of making fresh sandwiches. So here we go. Hi Jess, how are you?
Hi Alex, welcome to Subway.
Thanks for having me. I'm here to learn the art of catering and making fresh sandwiches.
Yep, sure. Come in.
Beautiful. Oh look. How do I do this? Thanks Jess, we're ready to go.
Alright. Yeah.
How'd I go? I couldn't have buggered it up already. You there? And then, look at that.
Ham for that one?
Ham?
8 pieces of ham.
8 pieces?
Yeah.
Is that like the standard quantity of ham
Yeah.
per sub? So boys are a bit funny about cheese at the club. What's the best cheese for you?
I like taste all in the club.
Oh, that's the tastiest. Is it the best for you though?
Yeah.
Well, it is best for you. Tastiest and the best for you. Fantastic. What's a generic salad?
Lettuce, tomatoes, cucumber, and capsicum and onion.
Yep, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of capsicum. How's that?
Yeah, that's fine.
This is an art form, the closing of the sub.
That's the reason why we put over.
What about sauce?
Oh, we gotta put the sauce. So we put sauce on top of the meat.
Okay, yep.
I'll put
What sauce? What goes well with ham? Mustard?
Honey mustard, best more ham.
Yeah, honey mustard's good. I like honey
Some
mustard.
shrimp pastas and put some salt and pepper.
Yep. Look at that. Made that look easy.
That's the stuff.
That's a beautiful looking sub, if I've ever seen it. Well, it goes to show Subway sure can cater for anyone. I'm going to take this platter of sandwiches to the boys and maybe let Rocket polish off the cookies.
I love being a member of the Magpie Army.
Because I'm part of one of the biggest sporting clubs in the world.
I love sharing my dreams.
There are a million others that bleed black and white like me.
And it's in my blood.
This jumper makes me feel 10 feet tall. Attack MCG every week.
Collingwood domination, envy of the nation.